Jill and Derek are part of this. Part of what I did was put them in touch with Derek and get Derek to kind of sign on to it.
How did you get Jill Duggar, now Jill Dillard, who was, and we'll get into all this, one of her brother Josh's victims, to even sitting down about this? Because she's so clearly still so haunted and in such pain.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously, this was not an easy decision for her, as people will see in the series. I mean, she comes out and explicitly says that. And I think that she entrusted us with the opportunity to really come forward and speak her truth and to get it all out. And I think, you know, just in terms of like the filmmaking team and how we presented it, which was that we were going to be telling the full story and that we weren't going to hold back. But at the same time, like we are going to be thoughtful.
Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back. Hope everybody is doing fantastic wherever you are in this world. Hope everybody is having an amazing week so far. I can't even explain to you guys how long it's taken me to do this video. I've scripted it out so many times. So much information has been coming out. It's been so ridiculous. I can't believe how one person can become so unhinged and just not let things go. This is Katie Joy we're talking about, so it is what it is. So it's been so hot down here in the south. I sit back and I think, how did we make it in South Africa during these hot summer days? But in this video, I'm going to show you the lies Katie Joy actually spews. And I wonder if she feels that if she lies enough, it automatically turns into the truth. She just can't keep her lies straight or in order. Or even she is at that point where she has lied so much, I don't think that she can even keep up with her own lies. Before we get into the video, my usual disclaimer, please do not take what I say as fact. Feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusion. Let me just start off saying a huge apology to Llama Girl, because a few weeks ago I made a video where I used a screenshot that she actually did forward to me in regard to Katie Joy posting about her mother not being well. And I did use a screenshot and I totally forgot to give her credit and thank her for it in that video. And also in this video, all credit goes to Llama Girl, EKC, for helping me out with certain clips of a certain video and also pointing me in the right direction like EKC did. Because I actually did remember Katie Joy saying something that's beneficial to the story, and I did see that EKC actually did a short about it, so I asked the both of them and they both were so kind to lead me in the right direction and also send me that video. So a huge thank you goes to them. I truly appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. We truly appreciate all that she does in regard to catching all Katie Joy shenanigans before Katie Joy actually does delete it. So Llama Girl's link to buy me coffee will be in my description box, and EKC People Sucks channel will also be listed down in my description box. Please feel free, go and subscribe to her. I promise you won't be disappointed. Also, I totally forgot to insert the screenshots of the person announcing to me how she was going to report me. Not going to lie, I was rushing at the end because as I was finishing up editing that video, baby woke up, and you know, when she wakes up, everything comes to an end. So I do apologize about that. So let's get to Katie Joy. On July 8th, Katie Joy decided to make a video explaining how the docuseries, and I quote, and this is what it says in her description, but WOACB can exclusively report that everything is in danger of disaster after one of the men tasked to take down the IBLP is faced with allegations of DV by members of his family. In my opinion, that fell totally flat, because when the docuseries was released, it was so well received and it was actually trending for quite a while. Then she couldn't make up her mind if she was for the docuseries or she was against it. So in this video, she discussed how she wasn't part of it, and the reason was because at this point, she claimed that Jim Holt was to blame, and then she was contacted by another network, so she decided to go with that network. Katie Joy definitely tries to gaslight people, because off the back, she agrees that Jim Holt is actually telling the truth about him and his wife's experience and encounter with the Duggars in regard to Josh and the heinous stuff he was doing.
People can be a part of a situation and know information and be able to provide information and details about what they know about a given situation at a given time. As far as Jim, I don't think that what he testified to about Josh is false either.
Yet, she tries to villainize Amazon for including him in the docuseries because of the accusations brought against Jim Holt recently, when bear in mind, when this docuseries was all done in 2021. And if I remember correctly, when rumors were circulating about the docuseries being made, Katie Joy was on a live and said she also heard about it, and that was it. Now she's on a press tour about how Jim Holt is the reason she was not involved in the docuseries. He was the one that went around turning people against her and spreading lies about her. She said that he was the reason her and Amy King fell out.
The dirt that he had was so significant compared to some of the other people I'd talked to. I was pretty shocked. And so I was really just trying to say to them, like, there's a lot of people you could talk to. Please try not to rely on these people as much and try to get other resources and stories out there, okay? Well, that didn't really go very well. And Jim found out that I knew all of this, and so he basically started getting people upset with me. My relationship sort of fell apart with Amy at that time. I don't know if you remember that.
Let me correct that, because she tends to be alluding to that quite a bit when that's not true at all. And she knows this is not true. The reason her and Amy fell out was because they are two mean girls. Katie Joy and Amy were talking, or should I say bitching, to each other about Backwards Barbie. And then in my opinion, Amy found some courage and decided to do a live on Instagram degrading, mocking, and making fun of Backwards Barbie. And when she was approached, she denied it. While Katie Joy was up in arms and sitting on her live and was so excited to talk about how her friend took up for her and was having her back, and announced on that live that Amy was referencing Backwards Barbie. And then you even heard in the background Katie Joy's man-child husband mocking Backwards Barbie. And then shit hit the fan, and these two cut ties with each other. And going back to Jim Holt, Katie Joy knew very well about the type of person he was because she held that information against Amy. And this was the beginning in January of 2022. This is the clip of Katie Joy throwing it in Amy's face, how she's friends with people who punch kids in the face.
Didn't want to have to prove that I wasn't lying. But the fact that it keeps going on and on and on, like, it's just stupid. You told me it was Barbie. That's the screenshot. You said it was about her. All you haters that have been sucking her ass realize that she lied. And that's how it started. She knew it was about that. Everyone knew it was about Barbie. Like, nobody knew it was her voice. She's freaking out at me because, why? Because I know the truth about the people that are around her. Because I know that she's friends with people that abuse their children. Because I know that she and her husband's businesses are struggling because they made their name off the Duggars' name and everything is crumbling now. When they got the money, it didn't stop them. They allowed themselves to be controlled by Jim Bob. They allowed themselves to not speak out and be afraid and intimidated. For what? They still were on the show after they claimed they weren't on the show. She told me on my channel she was never on Counting On, and I found videos and episodes of her on Counting On. I found numerous times where she tried to not be honest with me. And it's like, when everything was going great, it was fine. But then at the same time, she knows about the rods that are in those houses, and she knew about the rod of encouragement, and she still was on the show. Like, if you're going to be against corporal punishment, why would you be on a show with your sibling or your cousins and your family when you know that your aunt and uncle are using a rod on them? Why? Because it made you famous? Because it gave you exposure? Why? I have had some of the worst human beings on the phone with me and in my inbox, and trying to suck my ass to get me to not post shit that's not favorable to them. And they think that because they're calling the Duggars out, that I'm somehow supposed to ignore their crimes, which is stupid. If you have committed a sexual crime against a child, I don't have sympathy for you. If you are punching your children in the face, I don't have sympathy for you. If you are setting your children up with child molesters, I don't have sympathy for you. If you're justifying corporal punishment, I don't have sympathy for you. And if you're contacting me trying to figure out who I'm talking to because you are afraid that I have information about you, but you are then pointing the finger at the Duggars. They also love to talk about how I'm bisexual and how they still like me despite my bisexuality. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with the fact that I'm a bisexual human being. I don't put up with the fact that you punch your children in the face, and I don't put up with the fact that you enable horrible behavior.
Katie Joy knew this information for a long time. I'm talking about a long time. Over a year, close to 1.5 years. She said that she even confronted Jim about it and he denied it. Yet only now is Katie bringing this up and exposing it. Why? Because she was excluded from the docuseries. She can't handle rejection, which we all know. Katie Joy actually made 2 videos talking about why she was not in the docuseries. The first video she made, she says that she was put in contact with the producers through her connection to Jim and Bobby Holt.
I had actually been put in touch with these producers through my connection to Jim and Bobby Holt.
Now, who was a connection to Jim and Bobby Holt?
I actually was put in touch with Jim and Bobby Holt by Amy and Deanna Duggar.
But then in the most recent explanation as to why she wasn't in the docuseries, she said she was put into contact with the producers through Jim Holt.
But I wanted to sort of address just a couple issues and why I'm not involved and why I wasn't in the series. In the very beginning, I was put in touch with Amazon through Jim Holt. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but in the fall of 2021, Amy Duggar King reached out to me and said, hey, do you, Jim and Bobby Holt want to talk to you? And I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay, sure. He and Bobby tell me that they've been signed on to this docuseries and they have talked to the producers and the producers want to talk to me or something like that. And they gave the producers my phone number. So oddly, I was put in touch with producers, a guy named Mike and Olivia and Alexa, in January of 2022 by Jim Holt.
Which is the correct story, Katie Joy. She has been unhinged. She went as far as to say that Bobby Holt is a monster. Who does this type of thing? If you are the playing kind, please keep Bobby Holt and her kids in your prayers because they are going through a very tough time right now. And we cannot take away from the fact that Bobby did what was in the best interest of Jill, and that was for Bobby to testify so Jill wouldn't have to face that monster that did those heinous things to her. And we can commend Miss Bobby Holt for that. Now, this video that she made on the 8th, we're still on this video that she made on the 8th. For me, it was so maddening because she laughs when she talks about how people reached out to her and the heinous and disturbing things they were telling her that Jim Holt was being accused of doing. She mentions that the producers were using Jim Holt to take down the Duggars, which is not true. Because you see, Katie Joy was leaning on her own understanding. And I say that because in the same video that she made, she said she was worried that these producers would depend on, and this is not verbatim, would depend on Jim Holt to take down the Duggars.
I was concerned at this point because I had been having text message conversations with Jim and he was telling me that he was thinking about getting a book deal and that his goal was to really blow up the IBLP's structure. Well, I was worried that the producers might latch onto him as the answer of they're going to take down the Duggars when the guy that they're using to take down the Duggars has a lot of skeletons in his closet that when this show were to air, would come boiling to the surface.
Melissa Rivers has a YouTube channel. Before the docuseries came out, she interviewed Olivia and another producer. And these were their exact words.
Know what you were getting into when you started the documentary, that it's really about this extreme fundamentalist cult-like group that the Duggars happened to be a part of? Or were you interested in the Duggars and that led you to the bigger story?
I think for, throughout our research process, looking at the Duggar family and then starting to notice articles pop up online that link the Duggars to the Institute in Basic Life Principles, and then going down the rabbit hole of research into the IBLP, and then just being absolutely, mind blown.
And in terms of how we're putting this, is not a hit piece. This is not a gotcha. This is a really investigative 360, look at what this all means.
We'll list this video down in the description so you guys can actually go and watch this in its entirety. And also, you will see the infamous Olivia, who Katie Joy has been throwing under the bus. I highly suggest you guys go and watch that YouTube video of Melissa River, Reply, and Olivia, and it's so enlightening. She leaned on her own understandings and thought that they were using or going to use Jim Holt to bring the Duggars or the IBLP down. So let's move on to, like I said, the second explanation video she made, where she says she's not involved in this docu-series, and the second time round, as you guys saw, she blamed Jim Holt for her not being in the docu-series, and he sabotaged her. But the kicker here is the disclaimer that she makes at the beginning of the video.
I want to start off with simply a disclaimer that says that I am so proud of all the survivors that bravely shared their stories and spoke out and received a platform that they had never had before, and were able to talk about what happened to them inside of this group. I don't think that experience should ever be overshadowed by the information that I'm going to share. And I fought very hard for them so that this wouldn't happen. And I'm not trying to dampen their stories. I'm just sharing, like, this is why I'm not involved, and this is why I couldn't be involved, because of who was involved.
Let me make you aware of how Katie Joy truly feels about the victims that have spoken out in this docu-series. Let's start with the beautiful and brave Brooke Arnold, who left a comment on one of Katie Joy's posts, which says, feel free to follow her on Instagram. She says, "You don't speak for any of the survivors who are in this film. I am one of them, so unlike you, I can speak with actual authority over this. Amazon has treated all of us with the utmost respect and generosity. You know nothing about this film or what went into making it." So guess what Katie Joy did to that survivor? Katie Joy tried to silence that survivor, because Katie Joy deleted that comment from her post and still reported that survivor's post as racism. And you said that you're proud of these victims? Really, Katie Joy? And guess what? Katie Joy denied it and made this post. Before I go any further, how is that not silencing a victim that you claim to care about and you are so proud of? Yesterday, a woman that participates in the docuseries commented under my photo that I couldn't speak for the survivors in the series. She also said that I knew nothing about the production. Knowing that she was upset, and rather than having a public argument, I deleted her comment and sent her a long message in DM on Instagram. I wanted to engage in a conversation and let her know that I am not against her at all. So why did you delete the post, Katie Joy? Why? Brooke did not respond to my DMs, and I'm still very much open to talking to her. Why? So you can gaslight her? I think she's smarter than that, Katie Joy. She then went on another page and said I reported her for racism. I did not report her for racism. My post was never about speaking for all survivors. I was speaking to the survivors. I was getting messages from who were upset Jim Holt was involved in the series. I'm not lying about Jim Holt's abuse of his kids, or Bobby, the restraining order, or my discussions with producers about Jim Holt's abuse and my concerns of his involvement in the series. All survivors are welcome to share their opinions, and I have been posting their thoughts in my stories for 2 days now. All the opinions are vastly different in their feelings. How many people? One person, Katie Joy? As far as I can see, maybe 2 people have come to your defense. 2 people. Out of all the sources that you have, out of all these victims that you claim to have their back. Okay. I have gotten close to several survivors and people that worked very close with Bill Gothard. They expressed sadness to me about Jim Hall's involvement along with other IBLP survivors. So let me get this right. You had this information since roundabout, I'd give you, say about the 20th of December, 2021. It took you 13 months to finally release this information because this docuseries is coming out. You're finding out that you got dropped. They didn't need you. They found out, in my opinion, how problematic you are, so they chose not to include you. That's just my thoughts. All survivors are welcome here. I would still welcome Brooke to a conversation where she can speak about the situation in more detail. As I said, I think Brooke is smarter than that. I will gladly show her all of my text, emails, and call logs if necessary. She can read the court log about Jim Hall. I will provide her screenshots of the abuse allegations. Katie Joy, you are a joke. You are a joke. IBLP survivors that aren't happy with Jim Hall's involvement have a right to feel that way. Absolutely, they have a right to feel that way. So obviously, they didn't partake in this docuseries because they didn't feel comfortable with him. So everybody's satisfied. I never claimed to speak for Brooke. And again, I'm so impressed with her bravery and courage for speaking out. Yet, you deleted her comment. You didn't even have the decency of addressing Brooke by her name at the beginning of your post. You see, Katie Joy, that's what gets you in a bind all the time. Because you're a grown woman. You need to learn to accept not everything goes your way. Then we go to Jane Doe 3, as Katie Joy actually references her in her post. Now get this right and have respect, Katie Joy. Her name is Emily Elizabeth Anderson. She has a name. Get that right. She was brave enough to participate in this docuseries, was involved in a lawsuit that she obviously had great hopes would hold this man, Bill Gothard, accountable for the things that he had done to her. Katie Joy called her out, basically shamed her, that she is basically a sellout because the other victims of Bill Gothard were not happy with her. Why would Katie Joy shame a victim like that? That's the decision she made. She did what was best for her. She decided to do what she felt was right for her. So who the fuck is Katie Joy to go on her platform, shame her, and let her know that the other victims of Bill Gothard is not happy with her? Then she moved on to Tia Levings. In the docuseries, Tia explained her situation and the abuse that she endured. Katie Joy felt that she needed to set the record straight because when it comes to the Duggars, she spoke to the church elders and that men spanking their wives was not practice and that no one she has spoken to has ever suggested that Jim Bob was physically violent to Michelle. Really? So tell me something. Any of your people, Katie Joy, sources, do they sleep with Jim Bob and Michelle? Do they know what happens behind closed doors? Because to that I'm going to say, you are truly an idiot. And the reason I say that, Katie Joy, is because what Josh has done to his sisters. Who were the ones to keep all this silent? They weren't allowed to talk about it. Jim Bob and Michelle. Who's the parents? Jim Bob and Michelle. This was Michelle's daughters. She birthed them. But she followed suit and never said a word to anybody about the hardships her daughters went through, about the pain her daughters went through. So do you think she's going to go and tell anybody if Jim Bob does lift a hand to her or spanks her? So I suggest you take several fucking seats because you don't know everything, Katie Joy. Tia Levings was sharing her story, her experiences. She didn't say that everybody, all the women in the IBLP experienced that. but you just could not help yourself and insert yourself. Because you want to put it out there that you are the Duggar whisperer. You know everything about the Duggars. And this is not even my opinion, but this is the facts. You owe all these people that you came up against and disrespected an apology. Because as you said, you fight for these victims, or you try to fight for these victims. Doesn't come across that way to me. Going back to Bobby Holt in the first video she made, how she liked Bobby.
I started speaking with them, and it was not during the trial. It might have been right after. I'm not totally sure about the timeline. And I really liked Bobby. Jim was a little bit intense.
To now calling Bobby this monster, and how she inserted herself, and as you can see from the screenshot, how she's being so mean to Bobby. Can you just not be honest and straight up for just once and keep your story straight, Katie Joy? Bobby Holt herself is a victim. You heard from people and her own kids the trauma she experienced. Unlike you, that creates trauma for yourself for sympathy and attention. What Bobby Holt did for Jill is what any caring, good-hearted person would do. When are you going to show some kind of respect? As for Amy King, I have zero positive to say about her. For her to have embraced and befriended Katie Joy again, unbelievable. Amy just let it go after every negative and bad thing that Katie Joy said about her mother. I have no dog in that fight, and the reason I say that is because I will always have my mother's back, no matter what. I can forgive people, but I will forgive you and treat you like you're no longer on this earth. But as Katie Joy keeps reminding us that her and Amy are on good terms, they've sorted through their shit. I never ever thought Katie Joy and I would ever agree on anything. And damn, do we actually agree on something. Because like I said, that I don't think that Amy brought anything new to the docuseries. And it seems as though Katie Joy feels the same way. Check out the screenshot. Because she actually did a Q&A on her Instagram, and that's how she also felt about Amy being on this docuseries. Katie Joy says that she never watches what people say about her. Remember how she platformed Caleb Williams? And me and a lot of others called her out about it. Now she took the time to actually explain herself.
Like, I had to platform Caleb Williams and interview him about his involvement in the trial. We did not talk about his crimes because I did not want to go there. I just wanted to know what Josh and Anna were doing to him in relation to Josh's case. That was it. I didn't agree with anything else about him. I don't agree with his crimes. I didn't want anything. I didn't want to like elevate him as some sort of victim, because in the world of his crimes, he's not a victim. What Josh and Anna and the family did to him, he was definitely being railroaded.
That is all bullshit. Because what I saw is Katie Joy downplay his offenses.
As a result of getting the teenager pregnant, he was charged and he is on the SO registry. You don't have to agree with Caleb's decision with what happened with the girl. It's not the same as what happens with Josh. It's not even the same category. It's not even the same statute. And he's an SO, yes, but it's not the same category of people that are affected by this.
She made this post where she says, trauma is a result of overwhelming sense of danger, powerlessness and fear. Healing is a result of feeling safe, empowered and supported. One of the hardest parts of the documentary for me is seeing the survivors that I've grown to care about become activated, triggered and feeling an overwhelming sense of panic. To those of you that have been triggered over the past few days, know that you are supported and loved. You are not defined by your past. You have a right to feel all your feelings right now. I know what many of you want is justice for the crimes committed. Those answers have not come yet, and you cannot promise them that the answers will come. Just hold on and know that you have a community here that loves you. Please be careful, you guys. Please be careful. Beware of Katie Joy. She's very good at all this. You know, writing good stuff, making people feel good, making them hear what they want to hear. But on the opposite side, it's totally different. This posting actually reeks of desperation and her last-ditch effort to trying to come across as the victim, the one that was done wrong. Absolutely not. Amazon producers have known since January 28, 2022 that Jim Halls was abusing his wife and children. December 2021, Kaylee Hall DMs me. During our conversation, I asked her about a tip that I received about her husband sexually abusing his brother. Kaylee confirms the abuse, claims it happened only one time. Says her husband got counseling and he tells everyone about it. I find her husband's LinkedIn bio and find out he's a volunteer at Boys and Girls Club and has been for 10 years. Her husband deletes his social media. Jim and Bobby confirmed to me over the phone they knew about husband's sexual abuse. No one reported abuse to police. Kaylee and husband have 4 kids at this point, and she claims she's not worried about her husband because he was a curious teen. January 28, 2022, I speak to Olivia Christ and let her know about a court order against Jim Hall prohibiting from contact with his granddaughter and reveal daughter Kaylee confirmed Jim Hall's abuse. I provide a screenshot of the court order. I also let her know that Kaylee confirmed her husband sexually abused his brother and he gets licensed therapy. Jim turns Amy and Deanna Duggar against me. Wrong. I've settled that at the beginning of this video. Amy goes on social media, tirade against me, accusing me of being a liar. Jim Hall told her I lied because I told her about the abuse too. March 2022, I leave the project. Producers are going another direction and I want nothing to do with the series at this point. Bullshit. April 15, 2023, Springdale police receive a call regarding domestic violence related to the Halls. Police open investigation. April 2023, Samuel Holt hires a lawyer, files an order of protection. April 21st, 2023, Bobby files an order of protection due to the investigation. Judge grants both orders. I text executive producer Olivia Chris at 3:57 p.m. same day. She calls me 30 minutes later. We speak for over an hour. Series is in post-production. Olivia apologizes to me for not listening to me about Jim. May 8, 2023, 10-year order granted against Jim Halls. I text Olivia Christ, no response. June 2nd, 2023, docuseries goes live with no disclaimer about the active investigation and restraining order against Jim Halls. First of all, in my opinion, this is just my thoughts. I think that the executive producers and the producers of this docuseries thought, you know what, this was way before. They had already filmed the docuseries, and what was going on with Jim Holt now had nothing to do with what was going on during the production of this docuseries. Because back then, him and his wife were still okay. They must have been going through things behind the scenes, but everything seemed okay then. Katie Joy is no victim. That was her last-ditch effort to come across as the victim. She's not the victim. You know who are the victims of Katie Joy? Tati Westbrook, Steve McRae, Jennifer Falk, Preacher Boy, Tina, EKC, Miss Letitia Bias, Lydia Chung. And those are just a few off the top of my head. Katie Joy is not a good person. She uses victims and survivors, takes their stories and uses it for her own selfish gain. She does not have anyone else's best interest but her own. Typical example at hand right now. It took information from people that obviously told her in confidence and exposed it to the masses. Jim Holt is definitely a piece of shit. I'm not defending his accusations at all. He needs to be held accountable. But what about Katie Joy exposing the information his daughter obviously entrusted with her so she can come out looking like the good guy? The producers did nothing for the victims of Josh. What have you done for them, Katie Joy? You watched still images posted, as you said, on Facebook. It's the same as watching, in my opinion, the disgusting content, but just that you were looking at it frame by frame. You are absolutely disgusting. You watched it and then you had the audacity to complain how you cannot unsee it.
I get into Facebook, right? Because there's an image somehow connected to Facebook. And the Philippine press, I'm not even lying, took still images of the video and censored portions of it and even censored. It's on Facebook. And I can't unsee it now. I can't unsee it. I didn't even want to see it. It was fully censored, right? It's on Facebook. You can't see the person's face. You can't see the other person's face, but you can see that the baby is hanging upside down. And it's on Facebook. And you can see that the baby's feet are like strapped onto the board. And so I'm like, so there is one of Daisy's face too, completely uncentered. And I'm like, why are these videos, like there's a photograph of Daisy, totally uncensored. There's one of her, like, and it's all on Facebook.
You absolutely disgust me. You had no problem constantly talking about this vile, disgusting shit and in earshot of your son. I myself live in hell daily because of my own trauma when I was young. And to know that you, Katie Joy, went out and sought this shit out angers me and triggers me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna end with saying this. This is the real Katie Joy, people. Don't be fooled. She will throw anyone under the bus to protect herself, and nothing stays private with her. It has happened time and time again. Do proper research before you lay your life before her or lay your trauma upon her. To all those victims that spoke out in this docuseries, well done. Congratulations for taking your power back. You guys are a beacon of light and hope to a lot of people you may not know about. I commend and respect and thank you guys. And to Kaylee Holt, I am so sorry. All you and your husband's business is put out there. I had no idea about your life, what your husband did. I learned it all from without a crystal ball now. No judgments. You know no better, you do no better. But this, for me, is it. The level, the length she went through to prove herself as the good guy, and still came out, in my eyes, looking like the devious, manipulative, vile, disgusting person that she is. Thank you guys so much. I know this was a long video. I tried my best, as I said, to condense it. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget my previous video. There's a giveaway there. It's actually a video about the producers that actually addressed why Katie Joy was not in the docuseries. Thank you guys so much once again. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And don't forget, make good memories. Bye, guys.